No, I get it. Just feels tacked on, like it came out of nowhere, you know what I mean?
Actually, I kind of thought it was well done. It's a bit understated, but, that's Dark Souls, right? Plus, it doesn't come out of nowhere. I mean, it's really telegraphed.
Why are you using the ding-dong axe?
Oh, the new patch, shadow buffed it.
How?
Increase the duration and the bleed is improved.
Oh, okay. I thought you may be recording this for your thing, using a shitty weapon so the fight drags on.
Ha, you're crazy.
So what's so obvious? How do they telegraph it?
Right before the third phase, I will show you. Look where I'm looking, up on the wall.
Are those snakeheads? So what, Keith's daughter or something?
Actually, Fried was, Lady Fried. It means either Royal Knight Huntress or Lady Star Hunter. The word hunter is like old-timey, and so it literally means Darkstalker's bride.
She fucked Keith?
What? No. It's like, Bride of Christ, the robes and the habit. She's a nun, you sick bastard.
Huh. Neat. So what's that have to do with anything?
Okay, think about the Dark Souls 2 DLC entrances.
Tacked on to existing boss rooms?
No, the thing you actually click on to get in the DLC.
Oh, the shrine deals. They had snakes on them, didn't they?
Yeah, headless ones.
Welcome to the Game Table. I'm Fauntus, and this is What's in a Name, the language of Dark Souls. I've always felt that the connections between Dark Souls 2 and 3 were more substantial than most people assume. I originally wrote this episode to coincide with the community event Return to Drangleic. Let's go back, learn about some surprising connections to Dark Souls 3, and then we get ready for the Ring City, exploring an NPC that may have a connection to the place. But first, it's the hub of Drangleic, home to heralds, holes, and hollows. But before we get to its residents, we better start with its own name. Majula, early Quenya, Magru, to kill or slay, and Law, to go beyond. Majula, go beyond death, fitting as it's the tagline of the game. Now, we start with Merchant Hag Malentia, from Quenya, mill, a desire, greed, or lust, and Enta, another. One more. Just one more? No one will know, right? Malin the Armorer, Sindarin, Maglor, to forge metal or gold, and Lyn, Mini, make lots of money, get lots of armor. Laddersmith Gilligan, Sindarin, Geller, joyous or merry, and Glyn, a gleam or glint, implied greed. So he has a merry gleam, a joyous glint. Who's laughing now, fucker? Kale the Cartographer, Quenya, Kale, Light the Cartographer? As you defeat certain bosses, flames will light the map. Out of the mansion, we have Sweet Shalquoir, from Sindarin, Sail, Wise, and Core, Ring. Sweet Shalquoir, wisdom and rings, alluding to her exposition and the fact that she literally sells rings. Next we have Licia of Lindelt, from Quenya, Lis, sweet, or Licia, full of grace, blessed. Moving from Licia, we have Stone Trader Chloanne, from Quenya, Cole, passive, patient, in pain, and Anne, a gift. Seeing as she sells upgrade materials, a passive way to increase your damage, well named. Also well named because her father has been driven hollow by her recklessness. And that would be Blacksmith Lenigrast, Quenya, Lena, I've come, and Quenya, Gresta, to support my kin. He's here to support his clueless daughter. Carhillion of the Fold, Quenya, Car, to do, undertake, or a quest, Hillia, to follow, and either Quenya, Loon, Blue, or Ian, the heir. He's questing to become the heir of sorceries. Rosabeth, Sindarin, Rose, sputtering or spraying, and Beth, word. She's the sputtering word. She rambles. Salden the Blue Knight, Quenya, Sol, the top, helmet, or crown, and Quenya, Den, to fall, crown fallen, or crestfallen. Chanelot, the Emerald Herald, Quenya, Sana, that, and Quenya, Lot, which blooms together. Together we bloom, we reach full potential. And next we have little peripheries of Majula. We'll start with Falcon the Outcast, from Fel, to feel or comprehend emotion, and Ken, to see, behold. He perceives emotion, relating to his relationship with the dark. It's also interesting to note that there is Quenya, Felic, the cave, and N, still again, so Falcon is still in the cave. Now we have Benhart from Sindarin, Pen, without, and Sindarin, Hartha, hope. Benhart, hopeless. That's Majula, the beyond death that those commercials alluded to. You go up to the Victor Stone, you may be surprised that on the stone itself, it looks very familiar, like it might be the Ring of Farron. And speaking of Farron, I actually forgot to include them in my video about hunters, which is a mistake, because Farron comes from Quenya, Farah, the hunter, with the suffix on, the great or mighty. Farron, the great hunters. We also have a couple other words that are related to hunter. Let's go over them pretty quick. First one we got, Pharis, holder of the black bow and stylish hat, comes from Sindarin. Pharith, a hunter. Makes you wonder if it was really a person. Next we have the war god of Ferosa, Farum, which comes from Farah, the hunter, with the suffix am, which is high or deific, so the hunter god, the high hunter. Speaking of Ferosa, it's tempting to think, oh, that's pretty close to Farah, and it's not. Well, it is really close to Farah, but it is referencing actually from For, Quenya, the north, and Osa, the wall. Ferosa, the north wall. You could even say the North Warders. Okay, let's get back to the connections between Dark Souls 2 and 3. Name this character. In the ruins of a great keep, between the abyss and a forest that is internally plagued by war, you happen upon a being of great power. From a mysterious fabled land, they offer to help you in exchange for the power of souls. Who am I talking about? Ornifex or Orbeck? It's both. You will notice that the names are similar. They're the same phrase, just one is in Quenya, the other Sindarin. From primitive Elvish root, Orn, the soul or inner voice, this becomes Orne in Quenya and Or in Sindarin. And then we have Embeck, a tradesman or trader of goods, which becomes Vexa in Quenya, and Beck in Sindarin, resulting in Ornivex or Ornifex in Quenya and Orbeck in Sindarin. A tradesman of the soul, a soul tradesman. So I am aware that Ornifex is a birdsmith in Latin. That's just a little wordplay. Now, this connection between Ornifex and Orbeck isn't exactly a lore connection. It's meant to cast the characters in a certain light. When you got to Orbeck, you kinda knew what to expect. In concepts that maybe didn't get fleshed out or not used to their full potential in one game, and then slightly reworking them and incorporating them into the next. For instance, you know Suliban started out as a knight of Ilium Lois? When I did the definition of Suliban, I broke it down into Sule, spirit or soul, and Ban, the dread imprisoner. But there is technically another, better word for a spirit imprisoner. Quenya, Fae, the manifestation of spirit, and Ban, the dread imprisoner. Which means that the Fabian, who wielded the ivory short sword, probably meant to lose those knights in chaos. And given that thematic overlay of prisoners, the dark, profane flames, below a field of frost, and a figure associated with sin, we get a glimpse of why Suliban's hanging out with Aldrich. Aldrich, after all, is just the name Aldia with the suffix Rick or Ricky, which means to twist or contort by effort, to be rendered down. Aldia even hints to this role at the end of the Scholar of the First Sin. Beyond the scope of light, beyond the reach of dark. What can there be? The deep. Now, so far, these examples have been pretty interesting, contextually relevant, and, well, completely dependent on Elvish. So, here's an example that based purely on observation. The Looking Glass Knight was made in the image of the Nameless King, which, you know, if you're training dragon riders, it'd be hard to find a better figure with more symbolic impact. He was there to prepare us to fight the Nameless King. I have many of the same attack patterns. The lightning, association with the sun and cooperation. The Looking Glass Knight is metal embossed, but if you look at the detail on his armor, he's wearing the skirt, he's wearing the sandals. Both have the symbolism of the storm and that four wings Bernecki symbol for his dragon. So what does it all mean? From Software was always pretty forthcoming about their disappointment in not having the Dragon Rider fight done for Dark Souls 2. If you get the design works, they actually have some art in there about the Dragon Rider that's already in the game and his scrap mount. But if you go back to the trailers, specifically of Masks and Dragons, there's a point where you can catch a glimpse of a scarfed figure blasting past the Emerald Herald and Farron Knight. He cuts a very similar silhouette. In my next video, we're gonna take a closer look at the Ring City. But before then, let's see if we can gain some information by translating Ring City into Elvish. Thanks to wise little kitty Shalquoir, we know that Cor means ring. So the Ring City is at World's End. So we know a word for end, it's meta, so we could have Core Meta or Metacore. That sounds like a badass boss name. Not right though. The key word is end, like the edge or the end of something. And for that word, it's actually Sindarin Landa, so Corland. Yeah, as in Ledlith of Corland. So what does Ledlith mean? Ledlith is from Sindarin, Luta, to enchant, or the enchanter, and Leth, ash. So Ledlith, the enchanter of ash, or the ashen enchanter of the ringed boundary, or the ringed end. Imagine that. Well, that just about wraps us up. Come back next time when we will be exploring that ringed boundary, its places, the associated characters, and the items. So come back as we go full circle with the Ring City. I'm Fauntus, this is a game table, and before I go, thank you. This community makes this series a pleasure to make. If you want to keep the conversation going, or have a question for me, check out my Twitter at Fauntus. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next time.
Do you want to try it again?
Oh, sure.
How'd the axe do?
You know, no clue. Did not have my HUD on.
You mother...